one. Well, it was a thrilling opening game. Brilliant. And history is made. And they've done it on their third match point opportunity. And they've done it in only their fifth tournament together. Commerce on his first.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. As you just saw, the inaugural Kumamoto Masters just concluded in Japan, and it brought along a few memorable firsts for some players, so there's lots to discuss and dissect before we look ahead to the final Super 750 event of the year, the Leaning China Masters. And of course, joining me today, we have the perfect person to accompany us through it all. She was in Kumamoto herself this week and is also going to be in the China Masters. She's none other than Scotland's #1, Kirsty Gilmour. Welcome back to the show, Kirsty.
Hi Jasmine, thank you so much for having me.
Let's begin with the women's singles in Kumamoto, where history was made as Gregoria Mariska Tunjung became the first Indonesian woman to win a Super 500 title. Now, she didn't drop a single game throughout the whole week, so my question is, are we seeing Gregoria at her highest level here?
I think this has been an incredible week for Gregoria. I think she kind of flew under the radar a little bit. I think everyone was kind of buzzing about Anse Young being back, about Chen Yufei beating Anse Young, and Gregoria just quietly went about her business all week and just, like you say, without dropping a set, which I think is incredible. Her skills with that shuttle are second to none, and it can be very difficult for her opponent if she's really feeling it that day.
If we take a closer look at the final, how surprised were you by how easily she defeated Chen Yufei, especially considering that the Chinese player was in fantastic form, having won both the Denmark and French Opens prior to this?
Definitely. I think the thing about Gregoria's game that makes it so difficult to play against her, as Chen Yufei found out in the final, is her shot-making ability. Gregoria has incredible deceptive shots. I think that's something that we've really seen this year, and I think when she's feeling it and she's on form, her shot-making ability is incredible. So it's super nice to see Gregoria get a title win for all the she's put in consistent performances this season, so it's really nice to see her come out on top of a tournament, especially in a Super 500.
Ya, saya bersyukur, tapi puas kayaknya bukan kata-kata yang tepat, tapi ya untuk kali ini saya bisa merasakan ya saya bisa menang lawan dia, itu adalah kesenangan tersendiri untuk saya. Tapi ya saya rasa target saya nggak cuma sampai di sini, jadi saya ingin lebih, jadi saya akan tetap bekerja keras untuk meraih gelar-gelar mungkin yang di depan yang lebih tinggi.
The final side, another headline to emerge in the women's singles is Bei Wen-zhang's decision to take a break from badminton after Kumamoto. Now, the American announced this after her semi-final exit, citing the need for a mental break after such a long time away from home. From a player's perspective, how important is it for you to listen to your body and mind when it calls for a break, even when you're on a fantastic run like Zhang is?
I think it's so understandable that Bei Wen feels like she needs a break. I would wager that she must be one of the most travelled players this season. Her schedule has been incredible. I think she went China, Hong Kong, Arctic, then Pan Am Games in Santiago, then Hilo, and then Japan. I don't know how many time zones that is, but I think that's enough for anyone to need a break. I don't think she'll be offended about me saying this, but because I'm not so many years behind her, but I think at her age, she knows her body really well, and I think it's a smart decision to take some time, especially in this last period of the year. It's been a jam-packed calendar, so yeah, it's been a very stressful time for her. So I think for her body and for her mind, I think it's a really good decision to take a break.
Well, I think I need a break for badminton. Like just a short break, like for holidays, to refresh my mind or something, because I feel like this whole year has been too long for me, and I didn't went home so much. Yeah, that's why there's a lot of things happens at home. So I have to, keep focusing that first. Yeah.
Moving on to men's singles, Victor Axelsen had a successful return from his injury layoff, winning him his 6th title of the year. The world number 1 overcame Shi Yiqi in a tight final, but he didn't seem like he was struggling too much on his return, did he?
No, I think Victor has come back strong. I think that's one thing that Victor does incredibly well, is know what his body needs and know when to take a break. I think what gave Victor the edge is just his ability. I mean, both players, both Victor and Shi Yiqi, are incredible at moving around the court. They're incredible tacticians. They're patient. Their physicality is incredible. And I think what Victor managed to do today was play that waiting game. But as soon as that tiny gap opened up, either to stretch Shi Yiqi's court or to put in like a killer shot, and the Victor's ability to pinpoint those small opportunities and take advantage of them and execute them, I think that's what set him apart today.
I'm really happy about my performance today. This was a men's singles on a really high level. Shi Yiqi is a really strong opponent, and I think if he had managed to win the first game, I think it could have gone either way today. So I was really happy how composed I stayed, especially in the end of both sets. And I'm actually really, win or lose, I'm really proud about my performance and the level of play today.
Now, it was an all-Chinese affair across all 3 doubles disciplines finals. Zheng Siwei and Huang Yatian got their revenge over Feng Yanzhe and Huang Dongping in a rematch of the Denmark Open mixed doubles final. While Zhang Shuxian and Zheng Yi won their maiden Super 500 title in the women's doubles after defeating Liu Shengshu and Tan Ning. And surprisingly, new pair He Ziting and Reng Xiangyu came out on top in a hard-fought victory over Liu Yichen and Oh Xuanyi in the men's doubles final. It is, however, quite rare for us to see an all-Chinese men's doubles finals. But how impressed were you by this new pair, He and Reng's budding partnership?
I have been incredibly impressed by He Yiting and Reng Ziyu's run, considering they only started playing as a partnership 4 or 5 weeks ago at the Arctic Open, and to get to the final of a Super 500, so impressive. I think the fact that there's not much information on them, perhaps, was actually a great thing for them. When there's more established pairs on the circuit, there's more videos that you can find of them, and there's more patterns that you can pick up on. But the fact that they're so new and fresh, I think they've just come in with some freedom about them, and I think that's what sealed the deal with them. I think maybe the expectations was on the higher ranked pair, and it's really difficult to deal with those situations.
我觉得其实通过这次比赛，我们也还是就是更确定自身打法吧，信心肯定是有的，毕竟拿了冠军嘛。然后接下来，因为其实打完这仗，马上接着就下一仗，我们还是要重新调整好自身，包括心态，其实以及对我们自身的肯定，对，然后以全新的面貌再去参加下一站比赛。
Well, that concludes the final Super 500 event of the calendar. With all that unfolded in Kumamoto, it comes as no surprise to see significant shifts in the race to final standing. Let's delve into who has secured their spot in the finals and who still has some ground to cover. Champion Victor Axelsen is the biggest mover of the week, jumping 4 spots to 3rd. That sees him and the rest of the top 5 players, along with the world champ Kunlavut Vititsan, who's in the 9th, go through to the finals. Gregoria's win moves her 2 spots, confirming her place in the year-end event, as well as Bei Wenjiang if she chooses to return to badminton by then.
Han Yue and He Bingjiao will battle it out in Shenzhen to decide who will be the second shuttler to represent China in women's singles.
Liu and Oh's runner-up finish moves them up 4 spots to 8th, but it's still not enough to secure a berth for Hangzhou. Unlike Erin Chia and So Wee Ik, as well as Kim Astrup and Anders Rasmussen, who booked their places after Kumamoto. Women's doubles still has 4 spots up for grabs, with Kumamoto runner-ups Liu and Tan ahead in the chasing pack. Lastly, the world number 1s Zheng and Huang finally booked their tickets by climbing 2 spots to 3rd. And following them after the Kumamoto event are Korea's Kim Won-ho and Jung Na-eun. All eyes will be on Shenzhen for the final Super 750 event, the Li-Ning China Masters. For some players, this marks the last opportunity to secure their tickets to the season-ending final. Kirsty, with that in mind, what kind of vibe are you anticipating from this tournament?
I think personally, from what I've seen and what I've been talking to the other players about for this tournament is, man, everyone's tired. Everyone's tired. It's been a long calendar year, but there's still a lot of things to play for. So I think this is going to be an interesting tournament in that who can have the biggest last push. So I think we're going to see some shock results. I think we're going to see some big performances, and all because the game has changed a little bit. It's just who can do a one big last push through this tournament. So I think this is going to be a very interesting one.
As we saw earlier, there are spots left for the year-end finals in the women's singles category. Interestingly, one of the players hoping to earn a place in Hangzhou is your first-round opponent, He Bingjiao. Kirsty, how are you preparing for this one? And perhaps, do you think you can capitalize on the pressure she's facing to secure your place here?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a factor that's at play, and also it's a home tournament for the Chinese players as well. I think I am quite annoying to play against for a player like He Bingjiao. I think she's quite a consistent mover. I think she's quite absorbent. But yeah, I'm going to do everything in my power to stop her from qualifying for the tour finals.
Also, mathematically in the running for a spot are both Malaysia's Ng Ziyong and Li Zijia as they take on each other in the opening round. Ng is above Li in the standings for now, but with how Li has performed lately, do you think it's going to be tough for Ng at all?
I think so. I think we've seen some good quality from Li Zijia recently, but Ng Ziyong has had those cheeky results over some big players this year. He had a good run to the quarterfinals in the Asian Games, semi-final of the French, semi of Hong Kong, final of Arctic where he lost out to Li Zijia. I think this is going to be a really interesting one because we know both of these players have absolutely world-class potential.
And finally, another significant opening round match will be that of Liu Yichen and Oh Shenyu against Muhammad Shohibul Fikri and Bagas Malana. Liu and Oh's runner-up finish in Kumamoto saw them jump 4 places up in the race to final standings, but it wasn't quite enough to seal a spot. A win against the Indonesians, who are also in the running, will be vital for their spot here. Now, how do you think this one will play out?
There's always pressure at tournaments just by their very nature, but to add in the pressure of one of them being able to reach the tour finals, it just adds a little extra spice to the occasion. But I think both pairs and both coaching teams will try to treat it as a normal match, considering that the head-to-head is 1 each, and each time they've played, it's gone to extra setting points. I mean, I'm not qualified to make a call on this one. It literally couldn't be closer. But the Chinese pair have been showing some really good, consistent performances recently. So again, it's going to be an on-the-day affair, and who's adapted to the hall better, who's acclimatized to being here in China better. And hey, if we look at what's gone before, we're looking at setting an extra points.
So plenty to look out for in Shenzhen, but for now, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, Kirsty.
Thanks for having me on. I'll see you next time.
For those of you at home, don't forget to catch all the action from the Li-Ning China Masters from the 21st to the 26th of November. If you guys are on the go, remember to catch the latest news, match updates and statistics on our BWF app, Badminton for You. Let us know who you think is going to grab the last few spots in the final on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Until next week, everybody, take care and goodbye.